Welcome to the GJ and Finance podcast. And in today's show, I'm going to tell you guys how spending $400 saved me $3,360 a year.
GJ Finance.
What's going on, everybody? My name's Kamal, aka Swiss the DJ, aka Mr. Morrison. And in this show, we are documenting my journey on the road to financial freedom. Now, I know when you guys hear the title, it might sound wild. How spending $400 saved me $3,360 a year, but it's absolutely true and it's real. So in today's episode, I'm going to show you how I save that amount of money by learning how to cut my own hair. So how did this even come about? Well, one morning I was doing cardio with one of my gym buddies, and I was explaining to this individual that I've been getting my hair cut every week for over 20 years. You know, your boy's a DJ, he's out on the weekend. I gotta make sure I look good and I come correct. For years, one of my boys from high school used to cut my hair, and he did an absolutely amazing job. However, I found that it was taking too much of my time. He was only available in the evenings when he finished work, and at times it would interfere with my schedule. I would have to dedicate a whole evening just to get my hair cut. So I found a local barbershop that did amazing work. I could book my appointment online, and it was only a 7-minute commute from my place. After telling my gym buddy that I paid $60 to get my hair cut, plus a $10 tip, they couldn't believe that I spent this much amount of money every week to get my hair cut. So after the gym, I came home, I had breakfast, and I started searching on YouTube and TikTok on videos on how to cut your own hair. And after watching a couple of videos, I'm like, you know what? I could do this. My haircut is fairly simple. It's one level, low taper on the sideburns, low taper on the back, and just trim up the beard. Here's the thing though, it never felt like a big expense to me. I tell myself, it's a haircut, it's self-care, you can afford it. But you know what they say, women lie, men lie, and numbers don't. $3,360 a year is not small chump change. So now it was time to make the initial investment. So after watching all these videos, I'm hyping myself up and I'm ready to purchase or get some clippers or the tools that I need to cut my own hair. I spent around $350 to $400 to get everything that I needed. I typed in Google, what are some good budget-friendly clippers I can use to cut my own hair at home? The VGR clippers seem to pop up a lot, and you can order them on Amazon. I watched a lot of reviews on them, and from the reviews that I watched, a lot of the feedback was extremely positive. A lot of barbers were using these clippers, and they were recommending them to people who wanted to cut their own hair at home. Because it was Prime Week, I was able to save a little bit of money. So I got the clippers and the trimmer in a combo. I also got an electric shaver because your boy's skin is sensitive. And most importantly, I got a Barber 360 mirror. You need one of those so you're able to see all sides of your head when you're cutting your hair. And that's it, a one-time cost. I decided right then and there, no more barbershop visits. Well, unless I really, really need it. But I told myself, I'm gonna learn how to do this, even if it means messing up a few times. So how has the learning curve been so far? Well, the first haircut, it took me over 3 hours to finish. I actually needed my wife to come help me finish it off. One big mistake I did is I cut the salt and pepper beard a little too low. But instead of focusing on the embarrassment, I focused on the gain. Every bad haircut is still a free one. I'm saving $70 every single time. I watched some videos the following week on the points I was having trouble with. My YouTube and TikTok algorithm turned into self-haircuts and barber tutorials. The following week, it only took me 1 hour to cut my hair. Vast improvement. And just for practice, I gave myself a little lineup in the middle of the week. So here's the math that ultimately made me make my decision to actually learn how to cut my hair. And just like one of my favorite personal finance thought leaders, Ramit Sethi, he always says, always run the numbers. So as I said before, I was paying $70 a week, $280 a month, and $3,360 a year. And remember guys, I've been getting my hair cut every week for just about 20 years. Now, I always didn't spend $70 to get my hair cut, but let's say we averaged it out to about $50. In the last 20 years, that means I spent just under $50,000 just to get my hair cut. But even if we look at the last 3 years since I've been going to the barber shop where I'm paying $70 a cut, I probably spent around $10,000 in the last 3 years just getting my hair cut. You know, if we did the math, if I put that $10,000 into like a total US stock market ETF with the 10% interest rate on that, that's like $13,000. Now, it's not a lot of money, but I would have kept my $10,000 investment and, gained $3,000 in interest. This experience about learning how to cut my hair has taught me a very powerful lesson about financial freedom. Sometimes the path to wealth isn't about earning more, it's about learning more. By learning a skill that most people outsource, not only did I save money, but I regained control. Cutting my own hair has been a symbol of self-reliance. Every time I line myself up, I'm reminded that I don't have to depend on someone else for every little thing. Every small win compounds, just like compound interest. So what can people take away from this? You don't have to start learning how to cut your own hair, even though I highly recommend trying it at least once. But ask yourself, what am I paying for just because it's convenient? What can I learn once that could save me for years? What skill would make me 10% more independent? In my opinion, I think that's where financial freedom starts. Not these huge investments or overnight success, but small intentional shifts that build momentum. If you're listening to this and you're on your own financial journey, I challenge you to find one area this month where you can replace spending with learning. It might be cooking, car detailing, or just fixing something around the house. You would be surprised how empowering it is when you realize that, hey, I can do this myself. For me, it started with clippers, and now it's helping me shape my journey on the road to financial freedom. That's it for today's episode. If you guys enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe and share it with a friend who's trying to save money. And tag me on Instagram at DJ in Finance. I love to hear the DIY skill you're learning next. That's it for the DJ in Finance podcast for today. I'm Kamal, reminding you that small, smart choices today build the freedom you'll live tomorrow.